200,000 people across 5 states woke up without power again this morning. And somehow right now it is warmer in Anchorage, Alaska than it is in Jacksonville, Florida. On top of that, 2 clipper systems are lined up back to back, ready to slam the eastern half of the country with wind chills crashing to 30 below zero in the northeast by Saturday. But here's the part that has me low-key freaking out on the models right now. There's a pattern flip brewing around Valentine's Day that could set up the biggest storm since that bomb cyclone. Drop your city and state in the comments right now because I'm about to run through 80+ cities, and you do not want to miss yours. Okay, so let me set the stage real quick because these numbers this morning are honestly kind of nuts. We got freezing temps pushed all the way down to the Gulf Coast near Fort Myers. Florida is sitting under freeze warnings instead of hurricane warnings, which is wild. And there's still snow on the ground stretching from Maine all the way down into Mississippi. That snowpack is acting like a giant refrigerator, keeping everything way colder than it should be. And until it melts, temps ain't bouncing back anytime soon. I pulled up the Euro and the GFS about an hour ago, cross-checked them both, and the models are actually agreeing for once. So, I feel pretty solid on this forecast. Snow is already flying across Illinois, pushing into Indiana and southern Ohio as we speak. Winter weather advisories are lit up in purple across the Ohio Valley. Nobody needs to panic. This first round ain't a blockbuster, but a couple inches is more than enough to wreck your evening commute and make roads sketchy real fast. Now here's what I need y'all to understand. This is just round 1. Round 2, Thursday into Friday, is a whole different animal, and we'll get to that in a minute. And before we hit the cities, let me just say, the fact that all 3 major models are agreeing on this track is low-key scary because that almost never happens. So when it does, you pay attention. But first, let me hit the cities because I know that's why most of y'all clicked. Starting with the spots that are getting hit right now as I'm recording this, Cincinnati, you're dead center in the bullseye. High of 30, low of 20 with 1 to 2 inches dropping tonight. If you're driving through there, just take it real slow. Indianapolis at 25 to 30 with an inch or 2. Winter weather advisory is up, and I'm telling you, these sneaky little systems are the ones that catch everybody slipping. Louisville at 30 to 35 advisory posted. And that whole I-64 corridor from Louisville through Charleston, West Virginia is going to be a mess tonight. Heads up if you're commuting. Columbus at 25 to 30 with 1 to 3. Cleveland, same range with that winter weather pushing in. And Pittsburgh at 30 with an advisory up. Steel City roads going to be real dicey. Charleston, West Virginia, right in the crosshairs for moderate snow. Lexington at 30 to 35. You're on the southern edge, so keep one eye on the radar tonight just in case. Here's the sneaky part about these smaller systems, right? Everybody was on high alert for the bomb cyclone last weekend. Rightfully so. But then these quick hitters roll through and suddenly some random spot winds up with 4 in. I guarantee you somebody out there is going to way overperform tonight. Underneath all that snow, rain, and thunderstorms are popping off through Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, even some rumbles near Houston and into Bayou country tonight. Now shifting to the southeast because this is where the forecast gets tricky. The system tracks east and cold air starts wrapping in from behind. It starts as rain for the Carolinas and Virginia, but the longer that precept hangs around, the more time it gives cold air to catch up, and that's when things flip over to snow. By Wednesday night, you could see a band of snow pop up from the Triad over towards Raleigh and into southern Virginia. That changeover is looking more and more likely. Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads, even Charlotte might get clipped full 80-city snowfall forecast breakdown with snow showers by Thursday morning. And I know Carolina folks are sitting there like, bruh, haven't we had enough? Look, I totally get it, but the European ensembles have been trending up, showing higher totals than yesterday. So, this one straight up crept up on us. We're talking 1 to 3 inches from southern Indiana, through West Virginia coating to an inch over Maryland, Delaware, and South Jersey. Mountains could see more, and real quick on the snow type ratios are running 8-1, maybe 10-1. That means heavy wet snow that clings to everything. Way worse on the roads, even with smaller totals. Are any of y'all already seeing flakes out there? Drop it in the comments because I legit want to see how this lines up with what the models are showing me. Moving up to the northeast, New York City at 30 to 34 with flurries possible. That covers all 5 boroughs. Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, all getting it. Boston at 30, low of 23 with flurries and wind chills making it feel a solid 15-degree colder than the thermometer. You step outside and it just hits you in the face. Philly at 30 to 35 with a winter advisory and 1 to 2 inches. DC same deal at 30 to 35. Baltimore right there too. The whole mid-Atlantic corridor is getting clipped. Newark and Jersey City both at 30 with travel delays expected. And if you're doing the I-95 commute tomorrow morning, I'd seriously leave like 30 minutes early minimum. Buffalo at 25 to 30. Y'all built different up there, I know. But you're looking at lake effect on top of everything else. And Syracuse at 25 to 30 with 1 to 3, and brutal cold. Grand Rapids at 25 with an advisory up. Toledo at 25 with that Ohio Valley snow. Fort Wayne in the same range. The entire Great Lakes region is just getting pummeled right now. Check this out. Detroit right now 25 degree. Meanwhile, down in Miami, it's pushing 80. That's a 55-degree spread across one country. That massive temperature gradient is literally the engine driving storm after storm. The atmosphere is trying to balance itself out. And spoiler alert, it ain't done yet. Let me keep rolling. Great Lakes and Midwest. Chicago at 25 to 30 with 1 to 3 in, and wind chills making it feel well below 0. Just brutal out there today. Milwaukee at 25, Madison at 25, both getting hammered with snow, and the kind of wind chill that makes you question every life decision that led you to Wisconsin in February. Minneapolis at 20 to 26. And this is where it gets scary. Wind chills are putting the feels like in single digits. And at that level, frostbite sets in under 15 minutes. I am not exaggerating on that. If you're up in Minnesota right now, cover every inch of exposed skin. This is dead serious. I know that sounds dramatic, but I've talked to emergency room docs who say every cold snap like this, they get people coming in with frostbitten fingers and toes, and a lot of them had no idea it could happen that fast. Okay, back to the numbers. Detroit at 25 to 30 with 1 to 3 inches, and Great Lakes enhancement could stack that up quick if you catch a band. Omaha at 30 with possible snow. The Heartland is feeling it. Kansas City at 30 to 35. St. Louis at 30 to 35. And yo, check this out. St. Louis woke up warmer than Orlando this morning. Let that sink in for a second. Denver at 35 to 40 with possible squalls. Colorado Springs at 35. And get this, Denver was sitting at 65 last week. And now it's 35. That's a 30-degree nosedive in days. That kind of temperature whiplash is exactly what tells you the atmosphere is all jacked up right now. And it's only going to get more volatile from here. Take a breath, y'all. We're about halfway through. How we doing down there in the comments? Is your city come up yet? Okay. Corollas and Virginia. Raleigh at 45 with trace flurries possible. Charlotte at 45 to 50. Not a ton going on, but those blizzard conditions and brutal wind chill maps overnight lows in the low 30s mean everything refreezes after dark. Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Durham, all sitting at 45 with trace snow possible. The whole Piedmont needs to watch that Wednesday night system sneaking in because it's trending stronger. Virginia Beach at 35 to 40 with flurries as that second wave pushes through. And I really need the Hampton Roads area to keep an eye on Wednesday night. That's your window, now heading south. And honestly, the contrast is bonkers. Atlanta at 50 to 55, no snow, but still running colder than normal. Nashville and Memphis both at 45 to 50, catching a breather. The South, we're still tracking tens of thousands without power in Tennessee and Mississippi from that ice storm. So the warmer temps should at least help with getting crews out there for recovery. Montgomery, Alabama at 55. Jackson, Mississippi at 55. New Orleans at 60. The Deep South is warming up, but still ain't where it should be for early February. Now Florida. Oh man, y'all have had quite the roller coaster. Miami bouncing back to 75 to 80 with sunshine. And that is a far cry from those freeze warnings literally 2 days ago. Tampa at 70, Orlando at 74, Jacksonville at 65. The Sunshine State is finally earning its name again, and your closet literally cannot keep up. Winter jacket to tank top in 1 week. Somebody in South Florida commented yesterday asking about the iguanas, and yes, they should be waking back up any day now. So, heads up on that if you're not a fan. Honestly, the whiplash in Florida has been unreal. You went from scraping ice off your windshield to needing sunscreen in like 4 days. That has to be some kind of record. Quick Texas, y'all are looking solid. Houston at 55-61. Dallas and Fort Worth both at 55 to 60. San Antonio and Austin around 60 to 65. El Paso at 60. Just cruising along. OKC at 45 to 50. Tulsa at 45. Wichita at 35. And real quick, Arlington and Garland both at 55 to 60 since y'all keep asking for those in the comments. Now check this for a second. OKC sitting at 50 and Minneapolis at 20. Those cities are 800 miles apart with a 30-degree gap between them. That boundary is where all the chaos lives. Warm Corpus Christi at 65, Laredo at 65, New Orleans at 60. GF Coast is warm and dry. So enjoy it now because mid-February is about to change the whole vibe down there. Flipping out west, and I swear it's like a completely different planet compared to what the eastern half is dealing with. Total opposite energy. LA at 65 to 70, San Diego at 65, Phoenix at 70, Vegas at 60. The whole Southwest is just vibing in February. Meanwhile, the East Coast is out here fighting for survival. Bay Area crew, San Francisco at 60, San Jose at 65, Oakland at 60. Feels like late March, not early February. Enjoy it because the pattern flip mid-mon is coming for y'all too. Seattle at 50 with rain, Portland at 50 with rain, Cascades picking up mountain snow, which they desperately need for summer water supply. So that's actually clutch. Arizona cities, since y'all blow up my comments every video. Scottsdale, Mesa, Chandler, Glendale, all sitting at 70. SoCal cities, Riverside, Irvine, Anaheim, Santa Ana, all at 65. Basically perfect. Quick hits, Aurora, Colorado at 35, same as Denver with possible snow. Boise at 40, Reno at 45, Albuquerque at 45, Anchorage at 20 to 25 with snow and wind warnings doing its Alaska thing, and Honolulu at 80 with tropical showers because of course it is. Must be real tough out there. Somebody's got to do it, I guess. Thoughts and prayers to you guys in Hawaii. That's all 80-plus cities. If I missed yours, drop it in the comments, and I'll try to grab it in tomorrow's update. I genuinely read every single one. So just to recap the insanity. Honolulu at 80, Miami at 80, Minneapolis at 20, Anchorage at 25. We got a 60-degree spread coast to coast. And that kind of gradient is exactly what fuels monster storms. Now, let me slow down for a second because we need to talk about what's coming next. And this is where things go from annoying to genuinely dangerous. Wednesday is travel nightmare. Thousands of flights grounded, actually the quietest day all week. Kind of like the calm before the storm. So, if you got errands to run or stuff to do outside, Wednesday is your window. Full stop. So real quick, let me explain why this keeps happening. Because once you see it, the whole forecast makes sense. Picture the country split down the middle with a massive ridge out west pumping warm air in. That ridge acts like a wall forcing Arctic air to funnel straight down over the east, like water pouring down a drain. And the polar vortex up in the stratosphere is sending a lobe right at us this week. When that vortex breaks loose, cold air that's normally bottled up near the Arctic just spills down toward us. And that's the engine behind every single storm and cold blast we've been dealing with, because Thursday and Friday, a much stronger clipper comes barreling down out of Canada. And this one's got real teeth behind it. I am not messing around when I say that. There's a stout low parked over Hudson Bay that's going to shove an Arctic front right through the Great Lakes and Northeast. And it basically does two things at once. First, it drops accumulating snow from Wisconsin through Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania into interior New England, just stacking more on top of what's already on the ground. And second, more importantly, it opens the door for another blast of Arctic air that is going to make this past weekend look mild. And I know that sounds crazy, but I mean it. By Friday morning, heavier snow works into Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. And some areas could see snow squalls where visibility drops to absolutely nothing in minutes flat. The Appalachians could see double-digit snowfall. We're talking potentially over a foot in the higher elevations of West Virginia. That is no joke. Think about that for a second. A foot of new snow on top of what's already there, with 50 mph gust behind it. Those wind gusts pick up all that existing snow and create near blizzard conditions in spots you literally will not be able to see across the street in some of these places. This is serious. I need folks in the Great Lakes through New England to hear me on this. Prep now while you still have time, because by Friday it's going to be too late. And then comes the cold. By Saturday morning, wind chills of 20 to 30 below zero are going to blanket everything from the Great Lakes through New England. That is life-threatening cold. At 30 below, boiling water turns to ice vapor before it hits the ground. Your car battery can straight up die overnight. That's the kind of cold rolling in this weekend. This could legit be the coldest weekend of the entire winter for the Northeast. And with all that snow on the ground acting like a refrigerator, it just amplifies the whole thing. Pipes bursting, furnaces running non-stop. This kind of cold straight up puts people in the hospital. So I need y'all to take this one seriously for real. Quick safety break, because this genuinely matters more than any forecast number I just gave you. Listen up, because I need every single one of y'all to hear this part. Last winter I got so many messages from folks saying they wished they'd prepped earlier. Don't be that person this time around. The next 48 hours are your window to get ready. Generators outside away from windows and doors. No exceptions ever. Carbon monoxide has no smell, no color, and it kills people every single winter. Do not play with that. Check on your neighbors, especially anyone older or living alone. A quick phone call or a knock on the door could literally be the difference between life and death in this kind of cold. Pets inside, period. I say this every video, and it still happens every year. If it's too cold for you to stand outside for 10 minutes, it is absolutely too cold for your dog. If you're still dealing with power outages, most cities have warming centers open. And keep an emergency kit in the car. Blankets, water, flashlight, phone charger, because getting stranded in these temps goes from inconvenient to dangerous real fast. Punxsutawney Phil called 6 more weeks of winter. And honestly, looking at the models, I'm starting to think that Groundhog knows more than half the what's next. More snow or finally relief? Forecasters do. So the million-dollar question is, when does this break? And the answer is actually starting to come into focus now, which is the first good news I've had in a while. Around February 9th through the 15th, the ridge shifts east of the Rockies. Milder air floods in, and we could actually get our first real taste of spring for a few days at least. The Euro AI, and the Canadian all agree on this warm-up. Only the GFS wants to keep the cold going. And when 3 models agree and one doesn't, that one's usually wrong. Real talk, I could use a break from staring at blue and purple temperature maps every morning. I know a lot of y'all feel the exact same way. February has been absolutely relentless. But do not get too comfortable with that warm-up, because what comes after it is what has me genuinely concerned. And I'm serious about this. When you crash warm air into retreating cold air, that collision zone is where the real fireworks go off. And multiple model suites are flagging a significant storm signal around Valentine's Day. We're talking roughly the 14th through the 16th. Energy dives down the Rockies, pressure starts dropping, and what forms is a classic Colorado low. Now, if you don't know, Colorado lows can be absolute monsters when conditions line up. We're talking the kind of system that drops feet of snow on one side and spawns tornadoes on the other. The Euro is showing snow and thunderstorms developing along that boundary. And the GFS really wants to wind this thing up into a potentially massive system. Blizzard conditions on the plains, absolutely possible. Severe weather further south from Dallas to Shreveport up to Nashville. That's on the table too. The full menu. This is the piece that keeps me glued to the models at night. If that system tracks just a bit further south, the I-95 corridor from DC to Boston could be right in the crosshairs. Way too early for specifics. We're 10+ days out and a lot can change, but the signal has been consistent across multiple runs. And that's what makes it worth watching closely. Here's what a lot of people miss. When you go from 30 below average to 10 above average in less than a week, the atmosphere gets volatile in a hurry. Late February into early March is looking active too. If you live in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Virginia, the Corollas, stay on guard. Winter is not done with us, not by a long shot. Some of the longer range runs even show the first real severe weather signal of the season across the southern plains, which would make this a coast-to-coast event if it verifies. There's still a lot left in the tank between now and spring equinox on March 20th. So, if you're tired of this, I feel you. But we got to stay locked in a little while longer. And I just want to say real quick, the community in these comments has been absolutely incredible this winter. Y'all sharing updates from your towns, tagging your friends, checking on each other. That's what it's all about. All right, wrapping it up. Here are the 4 things on my radar, and these are what I need you to keep on yours over the next few days. Let's run through them quick. Number 1, tonight's Ohio Valley snow pushing through Cincinnati, Louisville, Charleston. It's trended up on the models, and do not sleep on the evening commute. Number 2, the Wednesday night changeover for Virginia and the Corollas. As cold air catches up, even a couple inches on top of existing snowpack creates real problems on the road. Number 4, that Valentine's Day storm signal, because if that Colorado low develops anywhere near what the models are hinting at, we could be looking at a major event. That's the before I go, I want to hear from y'all. What region should I go deeper on tomorrow? And also for real, are you done with winter? Are you still loving the snow? The comments have been wild. If this day, appreciate every single one of you. Take care of yourselves and each other out there.